Hello, welcome to another episode on MFM Podcast, Postcard Beyond the White Coat. Now, this podcast will take you on an unforgettable journey into the lives of doctors. So, I'm Dr. Selina, founder of Medic Footprints Malaysia, a platform that connects doctors to diverse careers in healthcare. Now, if you have not followed our podcast, be sure to hit that follow button to follow our channel. In today's episode, we'll be exploring doctors in alternative careers. On our podcast today, our guest is Dr. Eric Siu, who has transitioned to the field of marketing. Dr. Eric is the founder of Chubab Creatives, which helps companies with creative side of things, from website design, content creation, copywriting, marketing strategies, pitching decks, company portfolio, policy making, and many more. He has been with Chubab Creatives for over 6 years. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Eric.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me here also, Selina.
Yeah, so Eric, tell me a little bit more about your background. Tell our viewers more about your background and why did you decide to leave clinical medicine?
Okay. My background, huh? All right. So I graduated locally and I did my stint of government service in HKL for 2 years. Then I went over to Segamat for another 2 years. Then once I completed my service, I ran away. Ran away in the sense that I ran away from government practice. I went into private practice for a year. Then I got a job offer in Singapore, then which I spent 5 years plus in Singapore before I came back to KL. So after coming back to KL, I went into lecturing instead. And I was with IMU, International Medical University, the campus in Bukit Jalil. That was my alma mater anyway, so I just joined back and teach because I was kind of relatively exhausted from seeing too many patients at one go. So that was my journey as a doctor. But in between, in the process, I was also building something in the process, which is this Chubab, which is something to do with creative work because I've always enjoyed dabbling in the artsy-fartsy stuff. So I find one avenue that I could grow in. I started from there and started growing the business in 2016. While I was still doing medicine then, I didn't quit completely and jump on board. So it was a slow transition. And only recently, I decided to move away and do this full time, 3-4 months back.
Okay, so Eric, the $1 million question, why did you leave Malaysia and work in Singapore as a doctor there?
This is a very tricky question to answer, but I'm sure a lot of fellow doctors who are in the government practice, one way or another, they may have experienced this. In one sense that, especially when married couples, when we are working, we tend to get different places and we have no say in where we are being thrown to. I don't use the word throw, but technically it's just being placed all over the country. It's like one north and one south, and it wasn't very, at least to me, wasn't a very viable solution, even despite being married and stuff. Hence, I decided, okay, perhaps moving over to Singapore is a better idea. And best of all is Singapore, they themselves, even in my own country, at least in the government sector, there was no option to pick. But Singapore allowed us to pick the place of practice. Which hospital do you want? Which clinic do you want? It's like, wow, I had a choice to pick. So when people open the doors like that, you go lor. And that's when I just went and I went for 5 over years already. So that's how one of the reasons why I went over.
Okay, so that means you actually have seen the healthcare system, how it works there in Singapore. How would you compare it to what Malaysia is like?
Well, in Singapore, everything is very proper, very orderly, and yeah, we get a lot of complaints as well, but the complaints are generally the culture and the norm to get things done and to be better. In all clinics and hospitals, there is actually a complaint box, official complaint box where patients would drop in their complaints or any passerby would drop in complaints. Even if a staff doesn't smile, they don't smile at you, also gonna complain. So that's the things that how Singapore gets everything run in orderly manner lah. But of course, working in Singapore also has it's not as chill as we think it is. It's also quite a high stressful environment. There's a lot of patients to see. You have to be a lot careful as well because everything is black and white. Documentation, processes, everything got to write it down. No like skimpy. Not to say Malaysia skimpy lah, but Malaysia there is a bit of leeway that sometimes we can escape through. But Singapore, they will look in every detail. So that's why we are very cautious and in some ways very careful on what we document and what we write on the notes lah. So that's the difference lah between the two sectors lah.
Okay, was there a particular moment where you realized that it was the right time to leave medicine altogether? Was there one particular moment?
Yes, the moment to leave was when my kids were growing up. Then I realized that I wanted to spend more time with them. Being in medicine, I come to realize that most of the time we trade our time for money, meaning that we need to use our energy and effort to be at the front. If we are not present, there will be no income for the family. And that's how I see doctors or any other medical professionals out there, pharmacists or even lawyers, all these professions, they kind of need to trade time, hours for the income. That is when I thought to myself, let's do something else that doesn't require me to be forefront while I can still earn a keep and put food on the table for the family.
Do you miss medicine at all?
Miss medicine. I kind of miss some parts of it. I don't miss the hectic, stressful environment. Sometimes there is bullying as well, and a lot of things happen in the back end stuff. So I do miss the portion where I get to treat patients, where I get to see patients get better. That I think every doctors would also enjoy that, something they would miss. But definitely not the hours, definitely not the sloggings, definitely not the crazy stuff that happens in the healthcare sector. I don't miss that at all. I don't miss the on-calls either.
Okay, so what's the most important factor for you for your career transition and the time and preparation?
Okay, although I started in 2016, I had the company, I was freelancing, I did websites projects by the sites on my free time. But that also because I had a job that had flexibility of time. I was lecturing, and when I lecture, it's not all the days that I go for lectures or I teach. So on days that I'm relatively free, I have a couple of hours in my hand, then I go and do this side thing whereby I will meet people, I will secure some gigs to see whether it's workable or not. So during the process, while meeting people and seeing people, then we get to bump into other people who has the same interest as us. So that is when I started building up the company and met a few other partners along the way, which everybody has different subset skills. So from there onwards, we started building the company. But it started off as freelancing first, whereby I was just testing the waters and see whether it's workable or not.
Okay, it sounds like the business that you built, like there's a lot of importance of networking with people, finding the right people. So how do you know that, if you've already found the right person?
Okay. That is when, again, medicine is not always a waste. In our career, right, as doctors, right, we tend to meet a lot of patients. And from the amount of patients we see daily, depending on which area that you are practicing, because I was in general practice, I was with the government practice in Singapore under the polyclinic side, whereby it's kind of similar to Klinik Kesihatan. So there was almost 60 to 100 patients that we see a day, like literally a day for the last 5 years. Having that advantage allowed me to identify people who are good-hearted, people who are givers, people who are genuinely there to help and not just, take advantage of us. So that itself gave me the I don't say the eye, but more of the gut feeling to be able to see, okay, is this the right person to work with? Is this the right person that I should hang out with? We always want to surround ourselves with the right people, right? So that we can grow together. So being in medicine actually is a tool or a weapon for us to actually do a lot of things in future as well. At least that's what I felt in the process, gathering the teammates and stuff.
Okay. Have you follow your gut but then you ended up with the wrong teammate or wrong partner? Has that happened?
So far, don't have. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Very, very good people judgment skills there.
Yeah. For now I hope so But yeah, it has helped But there will be sometimes you will meet sometimes very hard. I mean, it's not like we are all perfect and all Sometimes we do come across individuals that they are good people, but somehow the vision or the frequency just not ngam. That's why we meet, say hi, but that's pretty much it. That we stay neutral Try not to make enemies It's always good to have allies rather than making more enemies in the process So just keep things neutral If not ngam, just not ngam.
Very, very good insight. Because as I transitioned out and I'm running Medic Footprints, right? Actually, I meet a lot of people. At the beginning, it was quite hard, like knowing whether this person is genuine or not. But like you said, you just have to learn to trust your training and your gut feeling and how to apply it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why transition into like marketing? And why Chubab? What is Chubab actually? And what does it even mean?
All right. So why marketing is because one of my partners, she's really good at marketing, and her background is marketing, and she's been doing marketing for years. And we decided to take that path because marketing can be applied to across all industries. So it's just going to keep our channels open rather than being too niche as well, so that we can reach out and get into other industries. While the basic of marketing is pretty much the same, as long as we do the same thing, just tailored need to the specific industries, I think it's pretty easy for us to tap into other sources. So keeping our channels open. So that's why we got into marketing. Why Chubab is the name was given by my daughter, because I just took the name because it was the first babble that came out from her mouth. I just wanted to remember it. She picked up an object, don't know what the name was, so she said Chubab. So I said, okay, let's immortalize the word so that I can remember at least for years to come that's her first word. So until today, that's Chubab.
Wow, that's very heartwarming actually to hear that. Okay,
Yeah.
do you think doctors what can you bring as a doctor with the skills you've gained in your training with being in marketing? How does that correlate?
The communication skills. It's pretty much like doing a consult, diagnosing problems. Like in medicine, we consult patients, figure out problems, trying to diagnose them, prescribe treatment. In marketing, everybody has a problem, and they come to you like although they are not sick, but the business is we quote unquote sick because they have a specific problem. So there and then we use our communication skills. So we ask the W questions: why it happened, when did it happen, how do you think we can help you, and all these kind of open-ended questions, right, to figure out the storyline and what's happening behind the scene. Then we end it by asking close-ended questions whereby we try to specifically point out the pinpoints. Then we provide the solutions. So that's why we don't have one size like most agencies out there. They always sell in package. Marketing, you do this, take this package. On the videography, do this package. We don't really have it. So I kind of do it like how I consult a patient. So if the treatment is there and say, okay, this is the solution, probably this is what we can help you with, and we can solve the problem for you. So majority of our clients we engage, it goes through this path, and it's pretty similar to how we diagnose patients.
Okay, so was it scary when to decide, okay, I'm going to quit my full-time job to run this? Was it scary?
Scary? No, because the thing is that it's not like I jump immediately. I actually prepared it for quite a while. As you mentioned, I did it in 2016. Then from Soprop, I moved into Sdn Bhd, where I incorporated it in 2020. So that was 4 years down the line. Then after 2020, I got the company secretary, got the auditors, the accountants, and everything on board. Then I started officially as a Sdn Bhd. So everything was a slow paced thing for me, while I was still holding on to my day job because I can't be just jumping off, and because family is there, they need food. So, and I don't want to get my wife into panic attack knowing that I have no income, right? So that is also another thing that I need to consider. That is why things has been pretty much laid out. So when I transition over, there is already income coming into the company, and I was already paying salary to my team already. So I said, why not just pay my salary as well then? So that's so it's kind of like moving from another company to that company lah. Just that I have an overview of the company's income, revenue, and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much okay, not scary, because I did it slowly lah, one step at a time.
Okay, yeah, because I think I met you in 2020. You actually came on one of our webinars before.
Yeah.
And I've also seen how you've transitioned. I mean, we started the journey together, I guess. Yeah, so it's very, very impressive to see how the planning was very meticulous and very strategic, and how you moved on.
Thank you. This is more like kiasu lah, or kiasi lah.
So what do you do at Chubak Creatives now? Like, what was your role there?
My role, I used to do a lot of operational work, meaning that I do hands-on work. But now I removed myself from that position because operational work kind of suck you into doing work but not focusing on the business per se. So majority of my time now is lim kopi lah. I go out and have coffee with people. And pretty much what does having coffee with people means is networking. I go and meet new people. I go and learn from their experience, be it entrepreneurs, accountants, lawyers, people from different backgrounds, even doctors themselves, to understand what they go through in life, what are the regrets. And this is when I start sowing seeds everywhere, and to build up the relationship. And the business comes not immediately, but over time, as you build up this rapport with other people, the word of mouth spread. People know that you are genuinely you are the same, and then they will start offering us jobs. They said, Eric, I have this, would your team like to do this? I said, let's just have a chat and see. So that builds up the connection already. I don't really have to go out there and like do sales. I'm not like a sales guy anyway. So yeah, so something like that lah. I do a lot of meetups. Mainly that's my core job, and taking care of the team lah. Make sure they're well fed lah. Make sure that they're happy. Make sure that the stomachs are full. Make sure that their well-being is taken care of. They get to do whatever they enjoy doing. That's my role lah.
Sounds like you're becoming the kind of leader that you wish you had.
Yeah lah.
When you were in.
Correct. Because I'm sure you understand lah. Back then we are just like, we don't have this kind of bosses or leaders. Now that's why I learned that I don't want those kind in the company. That's why I try to build something that is totally opposite from what I experienced during my medical years.
Yeah, so what would you say about those people who complain about the Gen Zs? Okay, I think I think my age, I'm the tail end of a millennial, but then now, the Gen Zs are coming into the workforce. So people are complaining they are the strawberry generation. Like, what's your take on that?
Okay. Strawberry, then when people put a claim on strawberry generation, there is some truth in it lah. Even if I say it, also some of the younger ones may feel butthurt lah. But there is some truth in it lah. Some people do break easily, but I don't deny the fact that they are also a capable bunch as well, and they can do a lot of things more than what we can do, and they are a lot more creative than what we can do. This generation is not that they are straight or they are really difficult to deal with, just that they need guidance. Because the thing is that growing up in an environment where everything is pretty much provided, you see, and everything is sheltered, so money becomes a secondary thing for them, and they have access to technology. They can get information very easily. what they need when they join the workforce and the company is actually someone to parent them, someone to guide them, someone they can look up to learn up all these communication skills, leadership skills, empathy. That is something that I see that a lot of the younger generations are also somewhat lacking because one way or another, the education has been very focused on achieving stuff, but the empathy part was somehow lacking. So if we can provide all this to the Gen Z, right, actually, they are a great bunch to work with. They are very honest. They do their stuff. But we cannot give direct orders to them because they don't like it. Somewhat we are also rebellious already. They're even more triple rebellious than us. So it's just you need to let them do their thing, but also guide them in the process to allow them to grow. Pretty much like taking care of a kid, like a parent like that.
Actually, I really agree with you because but in Many Footprints itself, we have, I think they are Gen Zs lah. They are like in their 20s now, and they learn very, very fast. But they are very different. Like how you would manage them is so different, right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe if the healthcare side, if they can adopt this kind of mindset, I think maybe there'll be lesser attrition rate also.
Maybe wait for another 100 years.
Yeah, it's a mindset change. I agree, and mindset changes are.
Some cultures are deeply entrenched. To change, I think it takes a long, long while. And the new generation are coming up. That's why they are all fleeing from the healthcare side as well, because the culture is so deeply entrenched. Everybody is still going through the old ways. So if you don't cater to the younger ones, you will leave. All the young doctors will leave eventually. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? Like we have to understand that life is like a disease. It's dynamic. If it's at this stage, this is the treatment you give. But it's already moved to stage 2. You have to treat it differently, right? But unfortunately, the disease has progressed to stage 3, and we're still using a stage 1 treatment.
Correct. Maybe stage 4 also metastatic already.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. I noticed you've got 11,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is super impressive. So, what's the secret to this?
No lah, this one. To be honest, the numbers, it's there. I already not stopped lah. I've been very careful with accepting connections anymore. I think there is also a challenge or pressure outside the society that we need to build the numbers, we need to grow the audience and stuff like that. But I believe if you have enough 100 solid people to support you inside your network, that's more than good enough for you to get moving, get things done. 100 is more than good enough. That is why I constantly go out and reach out to search for good individuals, like-minded individuals, understand, or probably collaborate with them or partner with them or work one way or another to get to know them better. So because at the end of the day, the word of mouth is a very powerful tool that, get things done. So how I got to that number is because I write a lot more. I enjoy writing and I enjoy crafting stories about my journey, about my experience, and somehow people relate to the content that I write. So they reach out, I reach out to them as well. So over the past 3 years, since COVID, actually, I started LinkedIn on 2020, just when COVID started. I did then. And because everybody was stuck at home, then there was an opportunity for me to build up ramp it up fast So that is how I got to that number because of my I was writing daily, and I was responding comments like a day job like that. I spent on LinkedIn early in the morning until late afternoon, just writing stories, engaging and replying to comments. Then for that one whole year, it got up to that number. After that, I slowed down with it. So let's take things easy. That's it. If not, right, it will always be forever chasing numbers. From 10,000, you want 20,000, 20,000, you want 30,000. I said, there's never ending. So as long as I build real connections, people whom I can trade numbers with, meaning that LinkedIn is just LinkedIn. If one day LinkedIn decides to take it away from you, right, and shut down your profile, you'll lose all your connections, all your followers. Right? It's not ours to begin with. We are using other people's platform. So LinkedIn has enabled me to store people's phone numbers in my phone and trade numbers. So that becomes like more personal. So these are the things that I look for rather than just connection count and follower count. It's as long as I keep the number and the person has my number, it's a direct connection already. So the connection is sealed. Just by accepting a connection on LinkedIn is just a connection until we trade numbers. Then that's the real deal.
Well, so you've put a lot of emphasis on networking. So I've had people who say like, I want to network, but actually I don't know how to start or what to do. So how do you do it? Like when you go and meet all these people from various backgrounds, like how do you start that connection
Okay.
or the conversation?
Okay. So how I do it is also through LinkedIn. I write my stories and comments. You have to pick the comments because sometimes people will drop hints. Oh, I would like to meet you for coffee. Then you take the opportunity. You text them behind the scene and 100% they will agree with it because they already dropped the hint that they want to have coffee with you, see. So, and from then, it snowballs from one to another because once I have coffee, I'll write about the coffee session and I'll post it on LinkedIn and people see, oh, actually I have coffee with other people to, just to mingle and understand each other better. And a few more will roll in again. I say, Eric, would you want to have coffee? I say, okay, can. So I'll pile up my calendar. So every day I'll be piling up my calendar from weekly to weekly coffee sessions until up to a month now. Then people ask, oh, I want to coffee with you. Coffee so long. I said, too full. I cannot accommodate. So I'll plug the dates so that I will constantly have coffee sessions but I spread them out because at the end of the day, I still need to focus on the company and build up the business, right? So I will spend some time having coffee with people. So that's how I get my coffee sessions. So I don't actively search for them, but people do reach out because of the stories I write on LinkedIn, because of some things that they may resonate with or they find that they have some similar interests. Then they said, okay, let's have coffee. Just want to know you better. And then, okay, let's go for coffee as long as they are within the vicinity.
So what do you all talk about during the coffee sessions?
Random stuff, really random stuff. From what they do, if the senior ones, chances I'll ask them for their background, their experiences, what they have learned so far, what the plans for the future. Did they regret doing what they do? Because I want to know, you see, if it's the pathway that I want to go. And for the ones similar age one like me, then of course, easy to talk to. We talk about our school days because we kind of resonate, right? Back in the school days, talk about the time when, our interests, Game Boy, video games and stuff like that, because those are our generation. Then the younger ones that I copy with, they will always have a lot of questions to ask because they want to know how do I start and where do I begin. So they will have all their whys and the ish lah. So I'll be answering their questions. So the spectrum of people I meet, depending on who I meet, they will have different levels of communication and conversation lah. But we talk about all things under the sun, from family, from work, to passion, to business, everything.
Okay, so what's your final advice for doctors who want to transition out of clinical medicine?
Well, for me, I always believe that although as tough as it gets, I don't think throwing up a job suddenly without any backup is a viable solution. I would always advise people to start building up their profile first, okay, one way or another, on any social media platform that you prefer, be it like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even on LinkedIn, depending on which is your method of preference. Some people like to do videos. Like me, I like to write. So that's why I went to LinkedIn. Build out a brand that people know you for who you are. You don't have to sell anything. You can share your thoughts and values. And once you have your network ready, and while you spend time on building up your passion, after a year or two, tahan a bit, okay? And when you have that reputation there, then you can consider moving on, because at least you have some buffer there rather than going into nothingness and don't know where to start. Because having no money is also equally as stressful.
Oh yeah, I agree. I know that feeling too. I think every entrepreneur would know that feeling.
Yeah, yeah. That one is really, I can really lead to a lot of stress and sleepless nights. I don't think just because of, I know, yes, I understand the pressure within the environment can really be very stressful, but must have a plan. No plan is very dangerous game to play as well.
I think no plan is also a plan.
Plan to doom.
Well, okay. Well, thanks, Eric. I think this is a awesome virtual coffee session with you actually.
Already. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Post Call Beyond the White Coat. We hope you enjoyed listening to Eric Stew's journey, like how we have transitioning from clinical medicine into marketing and founding Chubab's Creatives. So if you're a doctor who's contemplating about career change, remember that time, preparation, and established network of good people are crucial for a successful transition. So don't forget to hit that follow button and stay updated on our latest episode. Thank you for listening in, and we'll see you in the next episode.